I've become indifferent to what's going on to me. Since my first story, so much shit has happened or was discovered that I became dulled down to the point of not even giving a fuck. Put that attitude together with the fact that nothing has happened, until yesterday, to us since Rose's break-in. And you end up with one dude who doesn't give a shit anymore. I suppose everyone reaches this point at some time. Maybe it's a defense mechanism. Anyway, yesterday, Wednesday, I got off from work. My girlfriend decided that she wanted to get away from everything for a little while, so she went to a friend's house to stay for a couple of days. I like to alleviate my stress by working out. I had the day off and wanted to do a little more than just lift weights, so I decided to go on a long bike ride, 50 miles to the next city. It was really cloudy that morning, so I decided to take with me nothing but a couple of bucks for a bus ride back. Also, AT&T sent me an iPhone 5, and I definitely don't want to take that if it's going to rain. So, I went on my bike trip with nothing but my trek and a couple of dollars. About 30 miles into the trip, I got to this bike trail that led almost to the end of my destination. It was a 22-mile trail. I did this trip once in July and the place was absolutely packed. Hundreds of fucking cyclists everywhere. I could barely move. This time, the trail looked deserted. Nobody on it, and the weather became shittier and shittier as I went. The fog set in. I almost felt as if I were in a cloud. It was so moist, but without the actual rain. My shirt was just dripping with water, and the visibility was pure shit. I decided to keep going. A few miles into the trail, I noticed something. There were benches along the side. I haven't noticed them before. Cool. Since the road is so long, I guess you need a break at some time. I kept riding though. Visibility was at best 15 feet. About 7 miles into the track, I thought I heard someone laughing. I squeezed my brakes and slid for a few feet. I listened. Nothing. Well, I know what you think, and you're right, I'm a fucking idiot. Going on a long trip on a secluded track when I have a crazy cunt following me? Plot of a cliche horror movie. I know, and I regret doing what I did. But my reasoning was that no one had ever physically attacked me, so worst case scenario, I would be offered another fucking orange, right? I got back on the bike and did pedal a few strokes, and I heard the laughing again. It was coming from ahead. Fuck it, I'm biking through. The fog decided to have mercy on me and increase visibility to about 25 feet. That's when I saw someone sitting on a bench ahead. I lied to myself saying it was normal for a biker to sit on a bench and rest. That's what it probably is, right? You and I both know that, no, it wasn't a biker sitting there. It was a man. He wore a black suit. No hat or cane though, so I felt a little bit better. I switched my shit into the highest gear and started pedaling, Armstrong style. As I was passing him, he started laughing again. There was nothing around him, no newspapers, no phone, no bike. Just sitting, hands on knees, not even looking at me. Just looking ahead. And just as I'm passing, this fucker starts laughing hysterically. I got fucking scared. That was when I noticed he had an orange sitting right next to him on the bench. Then he looked straight at me. The Rose encounters were scary as hell, but this man was a whole new level. I kept pedaling. I heard the laugh one more time as I was riding away from him. The next 12 miles or so took me about 45 minutes. In other words, I wasn't slowing down. I got to the town where I wanted to catch the bus, and another shock was waiting for me. I arrived at the bus station at 4:10 p.m. The last bus was leaving at 4:30. The way these schedules work, this bus would take me to a small town at the beginning of the trail, where I would catch another bus home. Well, I come to the bus station, I see that the only bus there has 2 bike racks and they're both taken. Yep, let's cut the artistic description and jump right to the point. The driver said it was against the rules to put a bike inside the bus, and that it was the last bus. If I wanted to make it home that night, I'd have to bike to the other town and arrive before 7 p.m., when the last bus leaves for my place. I had 2.5 hours to do 20 miles. Either that or spend the night there. I only had $10 on me, so yeah, bike back, you stupid shit. And good luck with the laughing man on the trail. I wish I could tell you that I persuaded the driver to let me in. I wish I could have stayed the night there. Could have maybe tried to pay for a hotel by giving them my credit card number. Could have tried. No. I decided to bike, and I got exactly what I deserved. 2 miles into the trail, I saw something on the ground about 20 feet ahead. I remember thinking how clean they kept this track, so it was strange how trash would be laying around. I slowed down. It was a G.I. Joe action figure, a toy soldier. It looked pretty new. Oh well, some kid dropped it while biking back with his family. Keep pedaling, son. A mile later, another object ahead. A basketball. I stopped. I pick it up. Drop it, eyes full of tears. When I was in about 8th grade, there was a basketball tournament, a 3-on-3 in my school. I was so fucking excited for that shit. I gathered the best team I could find. If we win, we'd go to an even bigger tournament and maybe win some money. We arrived at the court and I realized that only 2 teams signed up in our age category. We were full of joy because that meant even if we lost, we'd win some kind of award. We lost. We actually got destroyed by the other kids, but since we ended up in 2nd place, we got a $50 gift card each for a store equivalent of Foot Locker. We all ran to that place. My friends all picked shoes and jerseys, but I picked this basketball. It was so unique. It was painted like a chessboard, 64 squares, 32 black, 32 white. Call me crazy for spending my gift card on it, but I loved it. At least for a few days, until I realized that the colors on it gave me a headache when it spun, and that the designers of this ball were a bunch of stupid assholes. So I threw it into the river when I crossed one of the bridges near my house. And now, I was holding the same ball, 5,000 miles away from home, in the middle of the woods on some bike trail that only I knew I'd be crossing that day. I froze, dropped the ball, and just wanted to yell. You get mad at some point, you know? You get mad that your life isn't normal like other people's. Why can't I worry about shit like my NFL team going to the playoffs? Or whether or not I'm gonna get a raise? Why do I have to go through this shit? What did I do? Well, I could contemplate about life or get the fuck out of these woods and try to catch that bus. I chose the latter, so I kept biking, carefully. After a few miles, another thing. A page out of a newspaper. It got lightly wet from the drizzle. I picked it up. It was an article about me. When I came to the US, the school I played for published an article about my life in the paper. There it was, in my hands. I dropped that shit and decided not to stop anymore. I biked by a bike that I owned when I lived in Bosnia. I biked by my old Iron Maiden shirt, by a picture of my family in a broken frame. I biked by a dead cat that was identical to the cat I had when I was 15. The faster I biked, the more items from my life became more and more common on the road. At this point, my story is becoming more unbelievable than any cheesy movie you've ever seen. Feel free to express all of your disbelief. Call me a liar. I would. I would have called bullshit 3 posts ago. I wish I was fucking with you. I wish I was doing this for entertainment. I'm doing this to get help, advice, something to set my mind at ease. At least for a minute. So I'm flying down the trail, about 2 more miles till I'm out of the woods from hell. It's getting dark, more and more foggy. And then, and fucking then, I hear the laugh. Only this time, it's a child. Or not. I slow down, scared of what's coming. I see the silhouette sitting on the bench. The same bench where the man was, laughing again. Not the kind where it's some kind of criminal mastermind laugh at his evilness plot, but a playful laugh. I guess you could call it a giggle. Only it's not a child. It's a woman sitting there. She's dressed in white. It was Rose. I pressed my brakes so hard I was surprised I didn't fly over the handle. She was sitting there, legs crossed, looking straight ahead, not at me, laughing. She turned towards me, tilted her head and smiled, with a grin I've described so many times. "Sit," she said. This was the first time I got scared to the point where my extremities just gave up for a second. Other encounters with her, I was in my home, or at least in somewhat of a safe place. This was in the woods, and as I typed this, I realized more and more how fucking stupid it was of me to embark on the trip at a time like this. Maybe, I don't know, maybe subconsciously I wanted to meet her again. Meet her and bring an end to it. I regained some courage and got off the bike. I slowly put the bike down and I noticed a photo of me and my girlfriend laying in the road. It was wet and looked burnt. Fuck if I'm stopping now. I'm gonna talk to her. I walked over. She was still smiling, not moving at all. "Sit," in my native language, in a child's voice. "No." "You've been a very stubborn boy, Milos." "I'm not a boy. I don't want anything to do with you people. Why can't you leave me the fuck alone? What do you want from me?" It felt liberating to express all of this frustration and scream at the cunt that caused my girlfriend and me so much pain. "No need to yell, Milos." "No, there is a need to yell. You're fucking with my life." "I only want you to come with me." "First, tell me what you want, and then I'll decide." She took an orange sitting next to her and offered it to me. "It's not your decision to make." Her voice changed to more of an adult one, but still not appropriate for a woman her age. "It's my life, you fucking bitch!" She lost her smile. "You know, Milos, all this goes far back. You have no power over this. You will come." She yelled that word. Will. Like, yelled it at me. I stepped back, ready to knock her the fuck out. She got up. "I'll fight you. I'll call the police. I will..." "You can't do anything," she cut me off. "Who do you think I am? You think the police can help you? You think your friends can help? What the fuck are you, a cult? You want me for a sacrifice?" She started laughing. She laughed while never closing her eyes, never taking them off of me. "You silly boy." Her voice switched to a child's again. "You have so much to learn about us." She stepped towards me. At that point, I honestly believed I was dealing with something other than a human being. I'll admit it, after I got home and cooled down and thought logically, I went back to the theory of it being a cult. But at that moment, right then, I believed that I was encountering something else. "I'll ask for help from others then," I said, not even knowing what I meant. "Church, maybe?" She said it in a way that, like a child's voice imitating yours just to irritate you. "You think your gods will save you? Ask your priest about me, then decide." Had no idea what the fuck she was talking about, but I decided I had enough. It was time to run. At that same moment, she stepped back and sat down, and just started looking at the orange. I ran back to my bike and got on it and started pedaling like the devil himself was behind me. I passed her. She started laughing uncontrollably, still just looking at the orange. I got on the bus at the last moment. I was a wreck during the ride. When I got home, I called the guy from the police station and told him what happened. He said he'd contact the local police and ask him to go check the trail out. I expect nothing. I spent the whole day thinking about what happened, and how they could get all of the stuff that I'm sure didn't even exist anymore. Was that really the same cat I had 12 years ago? How? And what did she mean by ask my priest? So many questions and exactly 0 fucking answers. I'm absolutely mentally drained. I didn't tell my girlfriend about this because I don't want her to have some kind of nervous breakdown. Shit, I might have one myself. I'm a broken man, tormented by something I'm not familiar with. I'm so lost. I would like to take this opportunity to thank any of my $10 and above patrons: Dan R., Paul Z., Mr. Swiston, Official Jerboa, Chaos X, JY Pyromancer, Hayden MH, Ethan A., and Dark Side of the Bear. If you want your name read off at the end of every video and some access to Patreon-only content, please consider joining the Patreon down below. Thank you.